Hello, YouTube. It's me, your boy, Plazukas. Today, I'm going to react to a content creator who I don't want to react to, but who wants to take this narrative that somehow Dr. Disrespect is not a creep, is not a predator, is not somebody that has a prolific nature to use his platform to take advantage and manipulate and to potentially have relations with or sex with people in the industry to maybe get sponsorships or partnerships or whatever else, right? And obviously, I'm not going to go all in because I'm going to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, and I don't exactly know what this video is about, but I can only assume based on who this person is, and it's Geeks and Gamers, that they're gonna probably spin this narrative that there's some deep state conspiracy theory and that Dr. Disrespect is not actually that guilty, even though Dr. Disrespect did himself no fucking diligence or service by coming out with a tweet. If all he had to do was just stay quiet. And my theory is that he didn't stay quiet because maybe he made a deal with somebody that they wouldn't leak the text messages if he spoke up about it. Maybe there's some compromise here. Again, compromise upon compromise upon compromise. Whether or not we'll ever see these DMs or not. Because the amount of stuff that I saw in this first 30 seconds of what Geeks and Gamers said is abhorrent and should never be the narrative, especially when the person that was basically given the benefit of the doubt for so many years now because of the silence, because of the uncertainties, came out and said that they did it and that it was a minor and that it did go to the extreme or it did exceed what is normally what you would talk to with somebody that's a minor. That's all. Clear cut case. We don't need any more context. We don't need more clarification. And because it wasn't provided, assumes that if we did, it would just be bad. Because this is the person who is admitted to it. But let's just watch this and let's just dig in.
As Dr. Disrespect and Twitch has. And it's not just the current version of that. It's the version that happened 4 years ago when he was banned.
Yeah, but there's a lot more clarification now.
From Twitch. That had all types of twists and turns to it. And now this one just continues to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And I sit here at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, and I'm sitting here confused as ever, but we're going to go through the latest update on the craziness that is Dr. Disrespect versus Twitch. Here we go. So 8 thoughts here says, this is why I changed my mind after crucifying Dr. Disrespect. Something is feeling off about the whole thing.
Here we go with this deep state narrative, right? Now, obviously, I'm not here to suggest that Twitch doesn't have any culpability, or that YouTube, or that insiders, or that journalists don't have any culpability. Of course they do. I'm not here to reject those notions. However, if all we're doing is try to lessen the blame or lessen the responsibility that Dr. Disrespect, Guy Beam, has, then unfortunately we are not actually talking about the issues at hand, because that's exactly what we're doing with Trump, okay? Just because he's a convicted felon, we're like, oh, well, that's because of the deep state. That's because of the witch hunt. No, that's because Donald Trump is a convicted felon. That's because Dr. Disrespect is a predator. That's why. Regardless of all this other stuff that happens, of course, it's an issue. Of course, it needs to be looked into. But why are we trying to deflect? There's a reason why. Let's continue.
Let me recap my position on this. I never trusted Twitch. I said I want to see proof before I'm going to believe anything from Twitch. The only thing that has been extremely damning towards Dr. Disrespect is his last tweet.
Yeah, I don't get why he posted it, to be honest. It doesn't make any sense outside of the fact that he might have come up with some compromise, felt super paranoid that something else was going to come out and he wanted to get ahead of it. I really don't.
Tweet where he admitted to having discussions with a person that he should not.
No, No, Geeks and Gamers. You're not going to twist this fucking thing. It's a minor. He said a minor. And there's a distinction here, and that's what matters. Believe it. 17 fucking 11 months, 59 days, it's a minor. We declare anybody below the age of 18 a minor, whether it's consent in those states or not, it's still a minor, a minor, a minor.
Be having those discussions with. That's the only thing that's been
It's not an individual. It's not a person. It's a minor. There's a distinction here that needs to be made very clear.
damning. And he gave no context. He gave no further context as to if he knew, if he didn't know, if he.
Wait a minute. He said it was a minor. What are you trying to say, Geeks and Gamers? What narrative are you trying to spin right now? I know that you spew falsehoods all day long, and that is your job, and you're very successful at it. But at the same time, why? When the tweet's still up there, it's been edited, re-edited, and then edited one more time to include the individual minor. But it was a clear context, and it was, and if there's any more context, it probably would have been bad for him. That's why Dr. Disrespect did not put it out there.
Stepped away from the situation as soon as he became aware. Nothing.
No, because he said it reached the point where it became, abnormal.
But we get so much more from across the internet.
We don't actually, because I'm going to debunk all of this for the most part.
It's wild. Legal Mindset here says, I've discussed repeatedly, particularly on my fantastic stream with Grums, Twitch has some liability as they settled and paid Dr. Disrespect. We just aren't clear on the exact nature of scope of Twitch liability. The Twitch minor bait theory is just one of many possibilities, but it cannot be dismissed yet.
So the Twitch minor bait is that someone from Twitch posed as someone who was underage. This was also an email that got leaked just before Dr. Disrespect posted his statement. And it was basically stating that it was some Twitch employee or some undercover person that was posing as a minor, catfished, and that's why Dr. Disrespect, got caught, or that's why there's some liability issues and why they settled out of court because they didn't want that to come out. To suggest that they're trying to go after their own content creators within the Twitch organization company.
Breaking news. Now,
so I went to Call of Shame's tweet, and I do not see this tweet anywhere. I think this tweet has been taken down to some extent. So wherever this was, originated from, I don't know. But I went to Call of Shame. He's not reporting this on his Twitter, and I'll look as the video plays.
this is from Call of Shame. Confirmed, Dr. Disrespect was reported by Twitch to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children when they were illegally recording whispers by the doc back in 2017. A full investigation was authorized and no wrongdoing was found. No illegal activity took place by Dr. Disrespect. No arrests were made and no charges filed, thus adding more weight that Dr. Disrespect is innocent, as this is indeed looking like a witch hunt by an ex-Twitch employees to frame Dr. Disrespect. Now, there's been some all of this with Slasher, who's an esports reporter, and in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I trust CNN more than anything Slasher has ever said. I don't know Slasher. I've never had a conversation with Slasher. And I want to make it clear that I never want to have a conversation with Slasher. I don't trust this clown for anything. All right?
Just so you can see on the Twitter post here, Call of Shame. Okay, I'm just checking the DMs right now, or the conversations. There is no actual mention of this breaking news article as well. And I'm scrolling all the way down. So I think it was taken off, to be honest. So wherever this originated from, I don't know, but it's not there anymore.
Right, so he's been putting a lot of information out there, and he dates back to the original Twitch ban of Dr. Disrespect and his weird message that he put out back then. I trust nothing this guy has to say. In fact, I tend to believe the exact opposite of what this guy has to say. But a lot of this information that's going around.
Right, this is the deep state. This is just that pessimistic attitude and the counter narrative that exists right now online.
around out there. There was Slasher
If somebody says we landed on the moon, they'll say it's a deep state. We recorded it through Hollywood. If somebody says the Earth is round, they'll say it's flat.
said that Dr. Disrespect was
If you say your dog is brown, they'll say it's blue. Blah 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 blah.
reportedly arrested. Of course, that turned out to be fake. Of course, it was.
Well, currently, there has been no evidence of Dr. Disrespect's arrest, although things like that can take days to be actually reported. And if you're a higher status individual, it could take weeks before it is publicly disclosed. Now, I don't know if anybody's looking into it. As he continues to talk here, I'll try to look into it again and see if I can find anything.
Unconfirmed. It is also reported that the minor was actually a former Twitch employee pretending to be a 17-year-old girl and trying to bait Dr. Disrespect with entrapment techniques, while the ex-Twitch mods illegally recorded it all. They were all fired soon after and sued by Dr. Disrespect's legal team. They are very bitter over this, and is why the whole thing is coming out for the second time.
So just to give you some context, this was what was leaked prior to Dr. Disrespect making his statement. It was that email that had all this stuff in it, and one of them was this theory that basically there was a Twitch employee that was posing as a 17-year-old, and that it was just an attempt to bait Dr. Disrespect, which would have happened in 2017, by the way.
After it has already been dealt with. Dude, what the hell is happening right now? I don't know what to believe. And if his tweet didn't say what it said and the way it said it, I would be 100% on his side. But his tweet...
Exactly. Okay, at least you're coming around here. His tweet is so damaging. It's ridiculously damaging. And that's after all the evidence would have been reported, after all of the lawsuits and everything would have been settled pertaining to this. And if there was some deep state, if there was some person posing as a 17-year-old, that would have been stated as well. Right? And there would have been no issues or need for clarification.
It does exist, and it's terrible. It's an awful tweet. I saw this video, which makes a lot of...
This is a really good video. I was actually going to bring this up, and I'm glad he's putting it up here. I can react to it as well.
sense.
So I've been ruminating about this Dr. Disrespect situation because I'm having trouble processing it, because my brain works very logically, right? I'm pretty good at putting aside emotion, just thinking about like what makes the most sense, right? And I can't for the life of me figure it out, because, you know, life truly is full of difficult decisions. There are a lot of things that are thrown at you. You have to make a decision that's hard. It's part of life. You muscle through it, you figure it out. One of the biggest layups that life could ever possibly give you is a decision like, hey, I know you've built this incredible career and you're worth millions of dollars. You have a family and a wife and a daughter. You could keep all that, or you could engage inappropriately with this minor in a DM. Like, for me, logically, that's like a layup. That's like, oh, I'm just going to not do that. But for somehow this grown-ass man was like...
Yeah, and here's where I think this comes down to before I get Geeks and Gamers' perspective, is that that's probably a mental illness. And I know some people wouldn't even consider it that, but I think based on definitions and research, it is a mental illness. It's a mental illness of sex addiction or something else like that borderlines on pedophilia, or predator-like nature, and it cannot be stopped. It's an urge that has to be fulfilled. And that's why you would make a dumb decision like that, even though you are married, have kids, and living this perfect life and super successful. And he was like the 5th most successful Twitch streamer at the time, and he would have just continued to be that successful and even more successful, maybe even the top of Twitch directory if he were never banned. The reason why is that. Or it's something else. And that other thing, I don't know, a random dumb decision, but then why would it involve the minor? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm only saying that because Dr. Disrespect said it, that it was a minor. Why even come out and say that? Again, maybe the dumbest decision. Maybe that all is why he's made all these decisions, because he's not very smart.
It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. And I'm so
So you got to go to the deep state, right? So it's got to be the deep state.
confused. And again, I go back, and there's Grums with his tweet. I go back to the most damning thing that I have seen is Doc's own tweet, where he said he was going to lay it all out there. I really don't understand it. And this is going to continue. It's going to continue to be the craziest story on the internet. I am fully invested at this point in time. This is a Dr. Disrespect drama channel for the foreseeable future. Of course, I'm going to cover other things, but this story is absolutely insane. And it's going to continue to be insane until we get some clarity. And I don't know if we will get that clarity or not. But my biggest issue right now is his tweet. And I hope we get more information on his tweet. But I don't know if we will. I don't know when we're going to hear from Doc. He's been demonetized on YouTube. I don't know what we're going to get. I'm just amazed by how all of this plays out. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.
Yeah, so that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it could have been, with Geeks and Gamers being someone who I think does unfortunately spout some deep state narratives at times. But ultimately, I'd have to agree with Geeks and Gamers that the most damning thing about Dr. Disrespect is his own tweet. Still can't rationalize that. But as far as someone who would have everything, it's most likely a mental illness. It's most likely a disease. And the urges was too strong, and he succumbed to him multiple times throughout that time in his life. Doesn't mean you can't get help, but a lot of times you can't. And this just kind of like carries with you for the rest of your life. That's why a lot of people hate people that are predators like this, because it's not something that can be fixed naturally. Even though psychiatrists and therapists and stuff in medicine and all this stuff would probably disagree to some extent. And I think we need to have more empathy for just just people in general, and understand where they're coming from and understand why they have the issues that they have. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So the only explanation is he's a predator, and he needs not to be on any platform. It needs to be he needs to be held responsible either by his own community, or if that can't happen, at least by the online community, which is why he got demonetized and banned. And if he goes to kick, it's going to be a bad situation. But this is this video. My name is Physical. If you like this content, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.